Village Manager White, please give us an update on where we are in the streetscape project.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'd like to introduce Todd. Todd's one of our up-and-coming stars in the Village of Fairport and Public Works in general. Hopefully to make him maybe possibly the foreman in the future. He's doing a great job. He's learning a lot about project management, which these are really, really big projects, and I think it's great for something for Todd like this to work on as he cuts his teeth in a very, very large $5 million project. A lot of contractors, a lot of outside agencies, federal funding, which puts a whole another mix of management on this and expectation. Working with various other design engineers like CPL, looking at even paid design and paid inspectors that are required for the federal grant and collaborating through that, plus all the parties, whether it be DOT or right-of-way, citizens, residents, business owners, all of that's being facilitated in a very large team, but Todd's being that liaison that's boots on the grounds every single day. So really, really glad to have Todd here. He was gracious to come up tonight and provide a little speech, a little tour, but I think he's prepared to talk to you kind of where we're at, are we on schedule, what's happening, what to expect in the future, some of the things we've learned throughout the process, so forth. So take it away, Todd.
Sure. So Todd Shuren. I grew up in Fairport. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Fairport. I live on North Main Street. I raised 3 children in my house that we've lived in for 21 years. My wife Stacy and I went to high school together. We went to the same high school, same year.
Class of 95.
95. I think we've got a 30-year coming up here.
Sure do.
And I've been with the village just shy of 20 years, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I still enjoy it, and the challenges that they present with me every day seem to spark my interest to come in Monday morning. By Friday, I'm ready for Saturday, but that's okay. As far as streetscape goes, I believe we are back on track to being on schedule. The start of the project mid-April. I'm not sure how far and how far back you want to go. The start was kind of slow. The concrete was not approved yet by the state, so we had a little bit of a waiting period where we had more open than we were able to close at any given time. We were fortunate the day that they brought the first 8 yards of concrete that anybody had ever laid in the state other than under a bridge deck. Passed the inspection at the plant, passed the inspection on site. If it didn't pass halfway through the load, it would have been a tear out, and then it would have been about another 60 days. That was our first day of a concrete pour. We've had minor issues that we've dealt with. We've had some good experiences with the business owners, and we've had a learning curve with the business owners as well. The north side of the tracks was a challenge. With pedestrians, learning that. It's something that I had never worked with in the past. I'm working with a young team with Millennium, and I think they finally have hit their stride when they did in front of the landing. It was impressive, the speed that they went. They've corrected a lot of the small things that we notice that they might not notice. For them, it's a big picture. They see I've got 300 feet to go, but they're not worried about the 3 feet in front of them at the time sometimes. And our new PE, Karen Montgomery, has set new standards for that team. She's been great to work with. She's brought a lot of interesting insight to the project, and the new focus is straight lines and what are we going to see. We inherit this when it's all over with. I've done some contracting work in the past. When you're a contractor, you're there to make your money. You're there to do a quality job, but then there's certain points in times where you decide, well, we need to get this going, so we're going to slip. The fortunate part is I have that field experience. Karen has a lot of field experience. That's what she does for a living. And between the two of us, we can kind of recognize when things are changing or if something has to change course. There's been a few changes, some grade changes, but a lot of it, it's hard because when you're taking out infrastructure and you're taking out old sidewalk, let's say, because that's what we're really doing, and then you're trying to meet new standards, how do you do that with existing problems? So you've probably noticed that the High Street corner has yet to be finished. There's been some grade issues. There's an existing structure that we have to work around, which changes what we can do and how to comply with the state code for being ADA compliant. I believe there's a good plan in place now. They have a few ideas to present to the property owner for the facade change, and it'll work out. I think you're going to see that probably next week. This week they're working the rest of Village Landing, and they're buttoning up all their open holes. The punch list has started. I haven't been presented with what their punch list is. I have my own punch list to give them, and I know Karen also has her punch list. So hopefully we can get all that worked out before October rolls around and we're not pouring an excessive amount of concrete come October.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Just for a clarification. The punch list that you're talking about is for the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's anything that's not finished, anything that we feel potentially is a defect or aesthetically not pleasing. There's a few spots where the concrete's cracked. We're not going to allow that. We can't have, for the cost of the project, we'd like to have it perfect, right? As perfect can be from the start, and then as time goes on, we start to see little things that we have to adjust. So the punch list will be for those types of things. And I don't know if anybody's noticed that when the project ends, we actually add the flowers. And that was a big thing for the village as a whole. When the project started, everything gets torn down, the trees got cut down, the light poles are taken away, and there's no beauty to our village that we all love. So this year we took more flower pots, more baskets. Bunchu's Nursery is who we use for the flowers, and they were great. The flower pots are amazing. I hope we can still maintain the funding for that many flower pots and then some. I'll find a place for them.
And they're staying watered despite the temperatures that we have had. They look,
Absolutely.
they look great. Yeah.
We have a gentleman that comes in 7 days a week
Yes.
to water those flowers.
You see him on his little cart.
And they're fed. They're fed. It's not just water. So, but they are beautiful, and we do try to add that as soon as we can. I'm waiting for Fairport Electric to finish the installation of the poles, the section between the lift bridge and the train tracks, and then you'll see a little bit of more beauty go down in that area.
How has the stamped concrete section going?
So the stamped concrete started out as 2 feet, which had gotten changed to 4 feet, which actually, yeah, it brings a little bit more of an aesthetic value. I think the 2 feet would have been too small. You wouldn't have been noticed. There was a learning curve with that and how much they can pour and how fast the concrete cures. That's been mitigated. We're good with that. It's just we have to get the concrete in the appropriate amount of time so we don't have the space open. And fortunately, we haven't had a lot of issues with accidents. The exposure's been minimal. There has been a few issues here and there, but it hasn't been anything major. Yeah, there's been a little bit of damage, a little bit. It hasn't been bad.
I have to compliment the team, both Millennial and also the village team, for wrapping things up for Music Fest weekend, because I had comments from folks who had been down, I think, Thursday, who are like, "Ay, there's a lot of holes in this place." And by the time they went back Friday, they stopped home in between at dinner time, and they were like, "It's all buttoned up, and it looks great, and it looks very safe." And so my neighbors complimented the work that you all had done to get things as controlled as possible for what happens in this village when 25 to 50,000 people descend on us.
It's interesting you bring that up. That section of the project was difficult with the utilities that were in place, and to take that task on with the limited amount of time that we had to complete it, Millennium went full force, and I was questioning that by Friday morning, and I had found out that Kurt, the foreman, had a truck of concrete coming to be able to fill in the gaps between the sidewalk and the building fronts. Now, that was done about 9 o'clock in the morning. You may have seen some cones later in the afternoon, but there was no hazards for everybody walking, you know, from one side of the village to the other. So that was good. That was great. That was great.
Can you give us an indication, and then I'm going to ask the board if they have any questions. Can you give us an indication of where you are on Main Street with current sidewalk, the work, what's complete, mostly complete, and what still has to be done? It changes every day because I'm walking around and I'm like,
Absolutely.
okay, I can't cross the street where I crossed the street yesterday. And can you just give us an idea of where we are with sidewalks and curbs?
Sure. As of tomorrow morning, we will have completed everything south of the lift bridge to the entrance to the village landing. That's the intention, to have that closed up tomorrow,
Okay,
without having stamped concrete, obviously. They're currently working towards Church Street to the intersection, and what's involved with that will be the conduit, the street lights that are gonna go in, so all that sidewalk is next. And from there, what they'll do, they'll have their curbing ordered, and they'll start to remove the curbing on the east side of Main Street, heading back towards the lift bridge, which is complicated because that opens up a little bit more of a work zone than you really want to have, but they have to schedule that. And as that curbing gets placed, then they'll start opening everything, flowing with traffic from the south side of Church Street back into Main Street and working their way towards the lift bridge.
okay.
So it's
Thank
gonna
you.
it's gonna be great.
I'm looking over to my right. Any questions for Todd coming from this side?
The only question I have is the one that I get from people most often is, when are the trees coming back and how big are they going to be? That is the most often asked question, but I very much appreciate the weekly updates, all the work you guys do, I come down to the village and walk a lot, and it's been wonderful. Like, it's been good work.
Yeah, yeah. So the trees will be planted early, mid-September. There is a planting schedule for that. They'll be 3-inch diameter and anywhere from 8 to 10 feet tall. As far as species, I don't know what the species are offhand.
There's a map.
We have a
Okay.
map.
There's a
and
map on the
list.
website.
Yeah,
Perfect.
don't worry about that part. Thank you.
No problem.
Adam, do you have some?
No, I appreciate the update. Even to add on to the prep for Music Fest, I noticed even in front of the library, that area that they had been working on, they worked really quick to at least have a gravel path that was roughly level with the sidewalk on either side, so it enabled people to just continue on through. I wasn't too sure what to anticipate with that, and then when I was able to walk around, I saw, all right, we were on it. We were on it.
The gravel and the bridging has been huge.
Yeah.
They do a good job with that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Emily, do you have any questions?
I just think that the community has become more confident in the end result the further you move south down Main Street. You know, I think
Absolutely.
at the beginning of this, I mean, it was like, whoa, what is going on? You know, the community members that I have talked to, are really enjoying the product that they're seeing, and I know that they're going to be thrilled with the complete end result.
Great.
So, yeah. Looks great, and it was exciting to work on walk on the very first sidewalk. I think the first sidewalk I walked, I was walking to get gelato, and I was
Okay.
like, "This is amazing."
It feels different, doesn't it?
It feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. You're not worrying about tripping
No.
anymore.
Tracy?
Just want to echo, the flower pots are absolutely gorgeous. That would be Bobby Bunchu, class of 78. And I know the last merchants meeting, the merchants on the north thought that was just outstanding and fantastic. When the project was done out front and you gave them those big, beautiful flowers, that was a really nice touch and very much appreciated by the businesses. A question about the stamped concrete. I like the 4 feet. I mean, and it is going to be gorgeous when this is all done. It will be. Do we have to seal that? Do you have to seal the stamped concrete?
So there's a product that we're looking at right now, and trying to make the decision, and it has to be an educated decision, because if we do end up having to seal the concrete, we want to make sure that it's definitely absolutely slip resistant, and that's part of the issue when you get into the sealing of the concrete. The other minor issue when you get into this sealing of the concrete, the positive side is it makes the color pop.
Oh.
So if you want the darker colors to be darker and more vibrant, the sealant help brings that out. There is some grain that they can put in the sealant, but then what's the reapplication rate? How often do we have to do it? And that turns into a maintenance problem for the village from here till eternity. So we have to be careful as to how we decide in the avenue that we go with that.
Because some of the textures would gather water and freeze and stuff like that, so.
Right, and then when that surface wears, that changes the surface. So if you take away the little granular beads, it changes how everything looks, and then you have it gets real spotty.
But I'm glad you're on it. You're
Yes,
thinking of it.
we're on it, absolutely. We have a test panel,
I was going to say, so you're in the testing phase right now?
yes.
Okay. Okay,
Right.
great.
I guess this was a me thing when I was up on the north side walking around. I thought the tree grates were gonna be black. I thought we voted on black ones. Did we change those at some point to go with the?
I don't have the answer for that.
No, they're always that kind of cast, rusty cast and stuff, and that bright orange and dust will start to kind of wear off over time as you walk on and they age and so forth, and the rain hits them. But no, they're always that way. That way you're not maintaining them, and that's really the way they are almost everywhere. Is that color? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, our pictures
But right
were
now,
always
they're
black.
right
I
now.
thought they were gonna be
Yeah.
black, and they're not.
No. They will, the brightness in that orange, that initial rust that's happening with that type of Corten steel will start to wear off and dull out and get darker. It's bright right now because it's getting its initial rust hitting the elements. Yep.
The beginning of the project down on the south end, it's like, is it gonna stop at the gas station?
The beginning of the end of the project. Or,
The end of the project, since we started on the north and we're ending on
Yeah,
the south.
okay.
Is it going to end at the gas station?
It goes a little bit further, I believe, to the next business, almost to Shaheen's.
Well, I didn't know
that
if,
general area.
yeah,
It
because
does
I knew Shaheen's would be here and this would be here,
There's an
but then I,
apartment building there right now.
right. I didn't know if it was gonna line up or if it was,
A little before the ABC Financial is where it's gonna end. They'll replace some sidewalks up to that point. We wanted to make sure we got all of the gas station and the driveway aprons that led into that, because it's very big driveway aprons, and take care of that. So it does travel probably a good 100 feet or more south of the intersection of
Okay.
Main and Church. Yeah.
because that was my understanding,
Yep.
but then I thought, I don't know, business here, business there, maybe that's where it stops. But thank you.
Okay. Any last lingering questions? Xander, do you have any questions?
No, not any. I just want to say it's very beautiful and good job.
Thank you.
Can I give a shout out for the construction buck program that has, I think, really bringing in some more economic vitality to the village during these challenging construction days. So if you don't have construction bucks yet, you should have gotten them and make sure you spend them.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're sticking around for the next item, or if, Brian, if you're going to take care of that. Okay, great.
I'll stick around.
All right, so
Thank you, Todd.
we're going to move on to, so that was our streetscape project virtual field visit, since we didn't want to go stand in the rain. The next item on the agenda is Village Hall Police Department parking lot review streetscape plans. So Brian, I'm going to let you, okay. Great.
run outside real quick, but.
Did we get the list that Jason sent out? No. Okay. I was just, Jason had sent a list out that covered everything that was getting done there. So I don't know how you want to start this, if you want to go through.
So in regards to the small parking lot in front of Village Hall,
Yep.
so there's been a change made to that, that's pushing the crosswalk further to the north. There's gonna be a full height curb instead of being, a curved curb or a drivable curb. That's gonna have 4 foot of stamped concrete. We're adding a tree, the structural soil to facilitate for the tree. There will also be a transformer that's placed in the back corner of the parking lot, closer to the police department's windows. And
On the map, I thought it's up close to the brick wall.
oh, I'm sorry, my mistake.
It's okay.
So that'll be placed, actually, we had that conversation today to try to get some of that work completed. And it looks like that'll be scheduled in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
As far as the date, I'm not sure, that'll be up to the contractor. They need to tie that into
This
the
is the
transformer across the street.
It's going right there, behind the brick wall.
So I don't have that information.
And then the 3 spaces that are currently in the existing parking lot, we moved the crosswalk to the north to facilitate that curb rise. And then we'll have an ADA parking spot right adjacent to the crosswalk, so they get out of their car and they go over to the crosswalk ramp. And then there'll be 2 or 3 parking spaces on the street that currently aren't there now. to
On this
facilitate
side
some-
of the street.
Correct, on the east side
Okay.
of the street, correct.
In the drawing here, is the transformer really that, I mean, I guess I'm trying to think of scale, like how big is the
It's gonna be about 10 feet by 10 feet area that we're gonna put this in. It's quite large. It's feeding the entire,
And it's tucked between that like L-shaped,
it'll essentially be in the handicap parking space that you see currently there now.
Okay.
That's behind the brick,
in the L-shaped
sign.
brick wall,
correct.
right?
It'll-
The brick
it'll-
wall
it'll be
is
right
L-shaped.
behind that. It's,
So it's
no,
like in
it's
that-
not L-shaped.
oh. It's just-
It goes across the
Correct.
front, and then
Okay.
there's a cast iron fence that goes back
Correct.
to the building along the Keenan side of the parking lot.
Okay, actually, it's right here.
Yeah, it's right down
It's
there,
right behind us. Okay,
right in front.
yep.
So on the street side, there will be additional parking spots. There'll be a sidewalk that will go directly to the front door
Correct,
of the police department.
correct.
There will be an ADA compliant parking spot and some other parking spots
Yep,
that will be brand new, that will be on this side of the street. And there will also be, I'm just testing my understanding. There'll be placement of a street light in that vicinity someplace along there.
Yep.
There'll be a tree placement someplace along there on the street, not in the parking lot. And then what's the slated work to happen into the parking lot by our DPW? So that's all part of streetscape. And then what are we doing with the parking lot?
So that is an in-house design that Jason and I are currently working on. We're trying to figure out what we want to do as far as the sidewalk to the PD, what it should look like. I know the first stage will be to remove all the asphalt after the contractor had come in and done their work. There's potential for plantings, a seating area, something nice. It'll do nice little pocket park. Hopefully nothing that we have to mow. We have enough grass that we cut on a regular basis. It'd be something, more or less a shade garden is what I envision. The complicated part with that is if Keenan's tree eventually gets cut down, then we lose our shade. And then we may have to change the planting a little bit, but it'll be an in-house design.
We'll keep it simple. We can always add more plantings.
Can you talk into the microphone, please?
Yeah, I mean, there probably will be some grass in that area for now. You can always add plantings and trees later, and we probably should. and see what that looks like. I mean, even there's opportunity because the transformer's going in there. If we ever wanted to add a light in that area just to kind of keep it lit at night and keep it nice, we have the opportunity to do that as well.
Can you come back and just share with us once you and Jason get an idea of what kind of planting you're going to put in there?
Sure.
I'm certain that you'll be using native species.
Yeah. And they'll be working in this area in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks by the time the contractor starts getting there. We have to get in there and get it all done prior to the curb being set in place, because once that happens, dump trucks and heavy equipment's not getting in there, right, due to the curbing. Nor do you want to go over the new curb and the new stamped concrete and all that other stuff. So they're going to we're trying to stay on top of the contractor as we move on. But once they start setting the curb, which is the first thing they do, we have to be there and be ready to go.
I'm going to just go down the line, and I'll let you jump in a second. Down at this end, Heidi, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I'm just excited to see it turn into another little pocket park space that people in the village can use, or staff can go outside and have lunch.
And have some place to sit?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, likewise. I think I'm interested to see some of the things that you work on with Jason there, and so we have some near-term, mid-term, long-term things that we could do at the site. I'm happy to hear about the parking that is being added there, because I remember when we were discussing this. I can't remember what board meeting or workshop, but it was some time ago. I remember asking Jason. I know that there are certain requirements in terms of the distance that an ADA accessible parking spot needs to be from a space, and just wanted to make sure that that was within that. And I remember in that discussion, that's where it came from. So good to know that it's continuing down that road. Thank you.
Emily?
A quick question about the movement of the crosswalk there. So we had to move it further
North that way.
north toward the other. There's another existing crosswalk there, so they're actually in closer proximity to each other than they would have been. Correct?
So if you're looking at the design, you'll see a lighter crosswalk, and then you'll see
Almost looks like a ladder, the
Yeah,
darker one.
Yep. So there's two in there. Mm-hmm. One represents the existing. The darker one represents the new one.
I got you. I was like, wait, they're too close together to have two. I got you. Okay, thank you. I was like, that's too close. Okay.
And if you look across the parking lot, the ladder is at a skew. It's not lined up with the.
Okay, that
with
makes
what's currently
sense.
there. That's existing. That's what that represents.
And I guess, just there was, on my end, just some due diligence around, we're taking away some parking in front of a police station, right? When we do that, what does that do? How does that change people's accessibility to the police department? So what I like about the change is that I believe with extending the curb line, we're able to get additional parking spots street side, all the while still having a wheelchair accessible spot closest to the entrance to the police department. So I think we're still, if you will, checking the boxes for accessibility to the police department and the entrance to our, right, which is important. I don't think anyone would argue that it was not important to do that. And the other benefits we're getting are some green space. We're also getting the ability to have that transformer, which we needed a placement for that. So I think we've thought creatively about how to make this all work and fit without having too much of a detriment to, I don't think there really is a detriment here. Prior to Chief Barnes leaving, I had an extended conversation with him about how he felt about this. He felt as long as we could continue to create parking in that area in front of the police department, he felt that would be okay. And also with the sidewalk leading right to the front door that would be going through sort of that green space, that all things would still, meet our expectations. So I think, we did a nice job being creative with this and trying to get everything to fit. I don't see this being a net loss of anything. So, good job.
I think the challenge will be hiding the transformer.
Right, it sounds like it's quite large. Maybe our arts
It is, but-
committee.
Well, there's going to be significant arborvitae and stuff around that grow fast and green and tall, so you won't see it. We do that with a lot of our transformers, you won't see it after.
Okay, I think placement behind the brick wall, obviously for safety reasons too, right? That's another.
Yeah, we just want to
Right.
hide it, it's not a good looking piece
Right.
of equipment, so. It'll be okay.
Is there thought about putting signage on the street to say like police department parking? I know that you don't, I don't know.
It's just going to be
Or
public
just,
parking.
just be
Public parking.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's no different than what you have now, it's public parking, if you first
Yeah.
come, first served, whether you're going to the PD or not, it's not spoken for just for one department.
Okay. All right. Glad I got that conversation with Chief before he decided to leave.
Tracy?
I know this decision was made back in March, but I have had a lot of people reach out with concerns. So it's my job as an elected official to share their concerns. And I didn't realize, I did a very toe dive into parking in front of a police station. And there's a lot of strategies and benefits to the community and to the police department by actually having parking directly in front of the front door. Parking in front of a police station is both benefits the operational efficiency as well as public safety. And it can be a crucial area for emergency response and accessibility. A lot of concerns about the ADA regulations that it's, it is what it is, but as far as having the handicap where you can access like a wheelchair person into traffic versus into a parking lot is a much safer situation, because these are our most vulnerable people and our most vulnerable population that will be, maneuvering in a street basically as they're getting out. So just a parking lot is a better solution for them. It's a safer environment. They can take their time to get in. And accessibility for visitors. It's important to have a nice, clear, well-marked parking for the public, and it allows them to report crimes, file reports, and do other business, as well as with the police department or the village. That accessibility, just seeking assistance. And right now, the parking lot is utilized for all those it's quick, it's easy, it's welcoming, and it's incredibly convenient for our residents. Just to pop in, pay a bill, stop and ask a question. But when you get into the research of having parking in front of a police station, it projects a really strong image that the department is committed to their community and they're incredibly accessible and welcoming to their community. And it encourages residents to see our police and interact with them in ways that maybe are not in sense of emergency. There's also something called a designated safe zone, and most police departments use their front parking lot for this exchange zone, where residents have a safe environment where they can do custody exchange or have
That's
sensitive
not where
meetings.
we do it today.
What?
They don't do it there today. They do it out
I am
back.
expressing concerns. Oh, okay, so they do that somewhere else.
Yeah,
Okay. And just having, I had some residents say that they would like to have the option to have a visual deterrent if the need ever arose, to be able to have a police car sitting right there on Main Street, to be much more proactive to preventing crime. Emergency access, using the police station for personal safety. And this is, in a crisis situation, driving to a police station is a recognized personal safety tactic. For example, if you believe you're being followed, or there's a road rage incident, it is something I was always taught, and I taught my children, you drive to the police station. And that's a secure situation where you can immediately feel safe in that situation. And this happened to a good friend of mine last summer. Out of the blue, a road rage incident. And she pulled into a house that had construction on Main Street, thought she had diffused the situation. This person was waiting for her. So 15 minutes later, when she pulled out, he pulled out of the school, tries to run her off the road. I mean, a horrifying situation, trying to block her, push her. And this is a 40-year-old woman who can definitely take care of herself, but just that access. I mean, she drove directly to the police station. So that's an option that if there were street parking or she had to go in the back, that would not have worked in a personal crisis situation.
There's still an emergency phone that's going to be out on the building exactly where it is.
I'm just sharing concerns I've heard from
Sure.
the public.
I'm giving some feedback that
I
We're
don't
not-
think she would have felt as safe to stop her car in the middle of Main Street during traffic and run through cars and pick up a phone. Maybe she would have acted that way, but I do know there's an emergency phone out there.
okay.
And it's also used, someone brought it up, festival planners, that space is used during Canal Days for our first aid and our emergency response. So in the middle, again, public safety. I'm not so sure we need a third park on Main Street. I mean, we have two other beautiful parks. And I think after doing some research and listening to residents, that I see more value in having a small parking lot with handicap spaces than I would
It would be
a
one
public
spot,
park.
just to clarify.
One spot would be better than none.
I have to admit, I misunderstood. I thought that there was an ADA accessible spot in what I guess I'm just now realizing is the green space. I didn't realize that the ADA spot was not, it's on Main Street. Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
I misunderstood that.
Yeah, because remember the curbs going up?
Okay, so
so
that is a fault of my own for not, when you said that, I
So
was
the
like.
wheelchairs are gonna be in the road,
Right.
going down to the sidewalk and up the curb.
Okay, so I misunderstood that, and I apologize. I'm just admitting that when I was speaking with the understanding, which is not correct, that the ADA spot is actually on the road. I thought that there was one spot in the existing parking lot today that we were keeping for wheelchair accessibility.
Yeah, no,
So
because
I
otherwise you couldn't
can,
use the sidewalk.
I can
or-
speak with some experience. Generally, if it's wheelchair accessibility, it's on the passenger side. So you're usually not unloading into the road from a wheelchair standpoint of view.
I guess the other thing that I guess, and I mentioned this a few minutes ago, is having if they're going to be spots on curbside, having those designated police parking spots, because who's to say they're going to become available if they're just public spots? If in a case of an emergency, you do need them, right? I mean, I think Tracy obviously raises some good points that, we want to be sure that there is accessibility for, handicap if needed, and also able body. That if there is an emergency, there is a spot to park. And we can't guarantee that with just public parking on the street side. So, I mean, if
So-
there's,
A few points I have with that, though, is the way
Yeah.
it currently operates, it is a public parking lot, so there's no guarantee.
That's correct,
That
yeah,
if you come
that is
in
true.
during an emergency, that you're going to find a police officer or a spot to run into the police officer. Now, I do understand the concern with wanting to have easy access to the
Right.
police department. If you know that you're looking for a spot, and you know that there are a few in the front, and we know that it sounds like other types of operations happen inside the landing, maybe what we need to do is start thinking about how the interaction with the police station works. Because the other thing that I think about when I think about interactivity with police officers, I think about all the activities that they'll do. It's not the Pines anymore. What is it now?
Evergreen.
Evergreen. They do activities and games and those sorts of things. This green space in front of the police station might actually be a neat place to run into officers, have some of those events.
Support community policing.
Yeah, exactly. And that continues to enhance the approachability of the police officers. I do know also too, pulling in and out of that, especially when you have a very busy Main Street. Right now, it's not that difficult, right? Because we have, 50 million projects that we have going on.
Sure.
But especially turning left out of there during a busy time, you run in the risk of an accident there too, because you're close to the entry, the two different entries into the packet landing right by the bank, and then over here by the packet landing building, and you're wedged in between. So that becomes a real conflict point. So I don't think the issue of safety is as clear cut as we're seeing just the parking lot in front, when we might be actually causing accidents by keeping it there or increasing the incidents. Again, that being said, I understand wanting to feel like you have easy access to the police department. So maybe we do think about, okay, we have a door that faces Main Street, but maybe we have a more visible door that also faces the parking lot. That could be something that honestly might even help it sounds like some of the operational challenges that we have with handoffs and some other things that are going on.
So improving the visibility or the access through the rear of the police department? Or
That's
Well,
not, that's not
what
public
currently
access.
what currently acts as the rear, but what I'm saying is maybe there's a way to rethink that. So it doesn't feel, so that functionally may not be the rear, maybe we have two side entries.
And there was one last comment that I forgot to mention. Someone brought up, does this complicate the decisions for ever having bike lanes on Main Street? If we're now putting all of our, we've just committed to parking.
No. There's parking up and down the rest of Main Street, and there's no way it would interfere with adding a bike lane, and those are two different things. If you're adding the curb and bringing the curb up there in front of what's currently the parking lot, it decreases the chance of someone turning in there quick or trying to turn out quick and also hit a pedestrian as they're trying to go up and down Main Street. And if we want police visibility, they can park out in the spots out there. If we want one spot to be designated PD, leave it out there. And there's also ADA access in the rear here of the building. They can take the elevator down. Like, can you take the elevator down to PD? From there?
You can't access,
You can't
no,
access it from the back.
no, you can't.
As long as there's a path and we are compliant, I think the benefits to a green space in that location, particularly with having a transformer there that will take up 2 out of the 3 current spots, trying to pull in there with any sizable vehicle and then trying to back out into a brick wall between a building, the wall of the building, and the transformer may be difficult, unless you're going to back into the parking lot.
I guess my biggest concern is just making sure that there's a spot in the front of the police department for both an able body and a non-able body to park. And so, it seems like it would be fairly simple to have a designated parking spot for both of those types of parking situations.
Or what if we at least had one like either police / village hall business? Does that make sense?
With one of the on-street
One of the
parking.
on-
Right, yeah,
Right,
right.
yeah,
Good, I
speaking
mean,
about
I
the
see what you're
on-street.
saying.
Yeah.
I was thinking too, if there was a few just timed, like this is just a 30-minute spot or a 20-minute spot for that convenience and easy access to both Village Hall and the police. Again, these were concerns that were brought to me
Well,
from
I
people.
think you did a really thorough job of sharing those, and I think it's great to hear all perspectives and varieties of viewpoints and things that perhaps as individuals we may not have thought about. I had never thought about using the green space as a community policing spot. I think that's a really cool idea. I like the idea of designating an on-street spot for both an able-bodied person and a non-able-bodied person. I think that's a
for access to,
Yeah.
for building.
I'm not sure what you're asking for. Are you asking for a sign that goes along with the ADA parking spot that says only for the police department and for Village Hall?
I guess that's what I'm saying, because I would like
I'm,
parking designated for the police department, I think would be an important piece here. I think, and
I
to
hear-
your point also that you made, that this initially was just a parking lot to begin with, and anyone really could have parked there from the start, you know, is an accurate point. And it's, I think for the most part though, I think people kind of like had a connotation around like, oh, that's for the police department. I don't think people were really using it.
last week,
And maybe maybe it's
2
not
weeks
consistently,
ago,
but
there were people parking there who went to the Gazebo concert series because I walked with one of them down Main Street. So that was after 4 p.m. Those signs say Village Hall 8 to 4, and it was in the evening, and I was on my way to the library, and somebody else who I happen to know parked in that spot and walked down to the Gazebo concert series. So
you make
they
a good
get
point.
used for all different kinds of things when they get used.
Yeah.
So I'm going to thank the board for sharing in this active discussion. I don't think it changes anything that's happening with that parking lot. And in fact, for clarity, this wasn't anything that we needed to vote on. And when the board was asked last March, when we were just making these decisions, to send a note of how you felt about this, everybody on this board sent information saying, I support it, including Trustee Briggs, Trustee Mishler, myself, and Trustee Wojka and Trustee Benoski. So, thanks for sharing the information. Brian, can you and the DPW talk about the signage for the parking out on the street?
Sure. So I just want to make sure I'm clear about what the board's asking. So, but is it something where between the hours of 8 and 4, you want to have designated police and/or village hall parking only? Is that what you're looking for? I just want to make sure that we can put that in there, but it's hard to enforce. Like, how do I know they're in village hall, and how do I know people are
Hopefully
there?
they're able to enforce it. It's in front of the police department.
We don't know
But
where people
yes.
go.
But what I'm saying is, if somebody parks there and they walk into village hall for 3 hours for a meeting or
Sure.
whatever they're doing, it's not going to be very easily enforceable. That's why I'm asking.
Can we think about it?
Yeah, you can think about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we don't have to-
the signs are going to go up at the very
Right.
end anyway. Just think about what you're trying to achieve, and we'll try to work the tool around to achieve that. No, that's not a problem.
Right.
However you want to do it. I just
We-
want to make sure whatever we do, we can enforce it, and it's
Inside those stores too is the drop off for the
Prescriptions?
the prescriptions, the old
Yeah.
prescriptions, and I think I know I don't
People use them.
Right, people
Oh, yeah.
come for 2 minutes and they just want to drop off their prescriptions, and that door is heavily used for that.
They do
So
do
that
that.
would, if we just had a spot designated, you guys can figure out the signage of how best to manage that. I think it's important.
Yeah, it could be something where, we'll come back with a couple
Okay.
things. I'll email
Okay.
you guys so we don't have to debate it.
Alright.
But I get what you're trying to say, is like have some exclusivity, so when people want to get in there for that easy, quick, or whatever what the case may be,
Yep.
that opportunities maybe it's
Yep.
there, right? All right.
Yeah, and we're passionate. We
follow up
have,
with you.
we just want to be sure we're doing the right thing. And as board members, we don't always have the exact same opinions on things, but it's good that we're able to talk it through.
So I forgot to mention too, I like how when you started talking about it, Emily, I was like, oh shoot, I meant to mention that. The shifting that sidewalk just north a little bit, it's a little design thing, but it lines you up right with the entry into Village Hall. So that's kind of nice. I like it.
I love that.
So, with listening to that discussion and the points that were brought up, that does spark my interest to the visibility of the front entrance to the police department and an easy straight access from the Main Street sidewalk to the building. So we'll have to make sure that we take all that into consideration with our in-house design. I appreciate that. And dimensionally also, width-wise,
Right, and lighting,
correct.
right,
Yes, absolutely lighting.
yeah. Sounds like you're the right person for the job, Todd.
Try.
Any last comments?
No, I was just sharing lots of feedback I got once people started thinking about it and
Thank you.
had concerns.
Yeah, thanks.
That's what I'm supposed to do.
You did a good job.
All right. That will take us on to item number 3. Can I have a motion to authorize the special event application for Woodlawn Avenue residents to close their street for their annual block party on Sunday, September 31st, 2025, from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. Barricades will be provided to residents at both ends of the street. And I think in your packet, we have the application from Patricia Ferran.
So moved.
By trustee Mishler,
Second.
by trustee Benoski. Any questions or comments on the block party application?
I just love I love when our residents do this. Simple way to promote community, and they got theirs in pretty early. This is good. They're on top of things. Sometimes we get them like a week before. So great job.
With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Oh.
What?
Sorry, well, we can bring it up in the next one too. It's fine. It's no
Okay,
worries.
all right.
Sorry,
Can you hold that comment until the next block party?
on it.
All right, so
Motion.
there was only one on this application. There's only one
The next
application.
item will be.
Oh, okay, all right. Item number 4 is a motion by the village board to authorize a special event application for Fairport Oktoberfest on September 25th through 27th, 2025, with final approval and authorization by the village manager. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
By trustee Mishler,
Second.
by trustee Briggs.
We got the event application. Yep, I saw that.
Yep.
This is a great event. Promotes, right?
All right, so
Yeah.
the comment I had.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I think we just want to make sure, right, we need to revise the fee, because I think the form shows one number and it's
Right.
it's a different number, right?
To be determined comments on the fees.
Yeah, we haven't changed any fees per the board's discretion at the moment. So this is the application right now, just documenting the event, staff and the partnership. The applicant will be meeting to discuss the nuances of, like any festival we do, and the details to get all those worked out accordingly.
Okay,
But the board hasn't made any changes to date on what we do with.
So the
certain
fees that we see in the actual event application are to be determined, which is
Correct.
what
There's
is
no-
noted
there's-
by
there's- they're
Nancy,
not-
the
Yeah,
applicant.
there's no fees in the application.
There's a fee
that's there.
that we approved on the fee schedule back at budget.
Yeah.
That's just for the application fee, yeah. But
Right.
the other, any and all other fees have not been adjusted.
okay. Well, sorry, real quick, though, just remind me with the fee that we approved for the budget, what was the number on that one again?
50.
50.
50.
50.
Yeah, so I think we just want to make sure that when we go through, because I think right now it shows 150.
Right, it was a
Yeah,
typo during,
yeah.
we just haven't amended the fee
Yeah.
schedule yet.
Yeah, so, and then it looks like, I think, initially when we saw it, we weren't sure about how many tents, but now it looks like we know kind of number-ish of tents.
Well, it's always the one big, large tent that you guys normally do, right? Yeah,
Okay,
Nothing's changed. When, so the electric, when that changed a couple of years ago,
Nancy, why don't you come
Oh.
on up and talk on the speaker?
you might want to turn it on too, right? Look at the top there, thanks.
hello. So yeah, we're keeping it exactly the same as last year. The reason that it looks like there's a lot more tents is because we shortened up the big, long one to accommodate for the electric in the ground, using the weighted tents there, so there's 2 more that wouldn't have been there if we were all in the big tent.
Okay.
And then the other ones are just the entry tents, so it's pretty much,
And I think you did that last year too,
It's
over by
exactly the
the
same.
west side, correct?
yep. Well,
And
thank
what's
you.
nice about keeping it the same is when they go and do the U-dig, right? They know where they've dug in the past and where it's been safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We always have that ordered, McCarthy's does that.
Yes.
So I have some questions about the stakes for Village Manager White. When there are stakes put in that parking lot, are we damaging the surface of that parking lot? And when do we get to a point of no return?
Well, I think anytime you penetrate a parking lot with anything, I guess there'd be damage, right? Right now we fill those holes with a granular structure, then we take a kind of like an asphalt sealant type thing and cover all those up to kind of keep some of the water from penetrating in there. That's what we've been doing since its inception. Obviously, that parking lot, it gets heavy use and stuff. It's going to need repaving at some point, but we know that ahead of time, and we're trying to find funding to do that, as well as some of the other parking lots that we have in the village. So we're working through that now.
So I guess what my question is, that may not impact this, but in the future, once we get those parking lots redone again, what's the status of saying no more stakes in the ground?
That's up to the board whether they want to.
I hate to see us go get the funding for all these parking lots and then have them destroyed after we get them done.
You've reduced the number of stakes
Yeah,
with your current
so-
setup as well to try to accommodate, because you are aware of
Yeah.
the board's concern for the taxpayers' property and
Oh, of
the
course.
sensitivity to that.
So I did a little research because that is absolutely, after 16 years of using that same parking lot and filling and using the spikes, I called and spoke with the owner of Parrington Paving, who just did my driveway last year, came out beautiful.
Nice.
And I was asking him, how does that compromise? And certainly, I'm repeating what he said to me. There's going to be more research to help come to this conclusion. But what he had said was, as long as those holes are being filled and sealed off, like you said, there's no compromise to be concerned with. He said if you were not to fill those holes, water would get in there, it would freeze, and it would heave the pavement, which, as we walked through and we looked, and we don't see any heaving or any kind of major cracks from where the spikes have been. But happy to work with you on whatever pavement repairs need to be done, because we've whatever you've asked, we were happy to do and will be happy to do. The problem with going with a tent, Oktoberfest has that vibe with that tent, and it's safest for the community to have a staked tent rather than a weighted one. It would change some things, not impossible, but and the cost would be pretty exorbitant to go to a weighted tent. So we really want to make sure Oktoberfest stays here in the village in a central location that benefits the businesses and the community. And, we're happy to work with you on whatever it's going to take to be able to keep the festival going the way it's been.
I have something else that I want to ask, but I'm going to go to everybody else. And do you have anything, Heidi?
My only question is, on the form, it says for security arrangements, that Southern Tier Security and the detailed security plan is going to be submitted. When would we expect something?
We usually
that,
share that
or-
when we do our group meeting.
Okay.
It's something that we've worked with Brian over the years to kind of set up the process where it's the same security company, we have the same footprint, we're not making any changes. So we'll basically be taking last year's, updating it with our dates. And if you have any other concern, let me know, and we'll take care of it.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Adam, did you have something?
I kind of asked mine too right out the gate.
Okay, all right. Emily, did you have anything?
Yeah, I think it's while we do think of it as a, German festival that includes alcohol and
Sure.
great German food, it's also a really friendly
It is.
event. It's got, music and games for the kids. So it's for all ages, which is, I think, something to be proud of.
Well, a couple of points to what you're saying. Saturday, it's free for families to get in until 4 o'clock. So Scarecrow Festival's happening during the day, and so is the Plein Air Festival. So everybody can come in, enjoy. The families don't have to spend a dime to come in and have some great music and food. And then Friday, we're opening it a little bit earlier because we have senior citizens that would like to come. And we were trying to make Thursday that opportunity. Last year, we tried, but 4 o'clock is when we open on Thursday, and that's just too late in the day for a lot of them to get rides. And, I think they like to have dinner a little earlier. So Friday afternoon, we are opening early so that we can get, and we've already had a number of the senior residents built companies said that they were going to bring people. So, and anybody who wants to grab lunch from the middle of their workday, they can come in.
And if we're able to approve this tonight, we will have our 30th high school reunion gathering at 5 o'clock at Oktoberfest. So,
Which would be awesome.
yes, we excited to piggyback on that.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
Tracy?
It's kind of related, but I just wanted to put that seed out there, that my husband was in asphalt for many years, and we built roads throughout the Caribbean. They have tent stakes, permanent tent stakes, that when you repave, you install them into the pavement. So that's something to investigate. So going further, we wouldn't have any issues with tent stakes, repairing or whatever, if we actually install tent, I don't know.
I never heard
Is
of
it the
it.
kind of thing like where, like for, like bases on a baseball field, you pull the base out and you
Yes.
put the plug in?
That's what it sounds like.
But yes,
Oh,
I mean, whenever,
Yeah.
we've talked about things like that, he's like, you do have them, they're out there in the world. So that is something to consider going forward when we do pave our parking lots, is to
Yeah.
put in tent stakes. And I don't know, I'm not even sure what they look like, but we could even use them in Village Landing too.
at some point, I have to hear more about the Caribbean.
It was an adventure.
I have a question that I don't think it's anything that's on here, but your timing, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, is the Monday after the Sunday after Music Fest. So I know from personal experience at 12 noon on Sunday, driving down Main Street towards North Main Street, there was, before the storm, was overflowing garbage cans and beer bottles that were left on the street. There were cans and cups and different items that were thrown in the tree lawn all the way up here when that occurred down there. Well, there's also something going here. On Saturday morning, there was an RV parked in our back parking lot. There were beer cans left in this back parking lot. I don't expect the partnership to find volunteers to clean up the village.
The things you're describing, are you saying those happened after Oktoberfest last year?
No, this happened this weekend
Oh.
after Music Fest.
Oh, okay.
So that within 24 hours of the whole event ending, there was garbage all over the village. And what it meant for our DPW, I know they got to my house at about 10:30, 10 o'clock. They normally pick up our garbage at 8 o'clock. It meant that they spent a whole bunch of time. So I am not saying this has anything to do with Oktoberfest, but what I would ask that you consider, and it may be part of the discussion when you and Brian talk about this, is putting together a team of volunteers. Your event is in the parking lot, and I know that you try and keep things in the parking lot, but that either you supply a garbage can that can be closed off and taken care of by your team on Lifbridge Lane in the proximity, and that perhaps that you have some volunteers that go around on Sunday morning afterwards and just where there is items that may or may not have come from the Oktoberfest, do a cleanup on the street, kind of like when we do the canal cleanups. It might be dying. That
Okay.
battery goes like
Yeah.
this.
Well, great minds think alike, Julie, because that's exactly what we do each year. I have a security team that has they help us do the cleanup. And so they stand at the gate, and we have 2 trash cans, and we make people empty, because first of all, we have to make sure we're not violating our liquor license.
Sure.
So
I'm sorry. It might be running out.
I'll speak
Okay.
Do you want,
Can you
just
just
use
slide,
Brian
can you
will
just
share.
slide that to the end so that Nancy has something to speak into?
Thank you.
And I know that
Thank you.
Oktoberfest is not the cause of that,
Right, but
but
I just want you to understand that we absolutely have that same concern. We want to make sure that the village doesn't look worse for the wear. And so not only do we clean up that last night, which is Saturday night, but we have a team that comes in Sunday morning. And actually, I even had Karen Hanna helping me pick up garbage on Sunday morning after the festival. So we're all absolutely being careful about how we're, leaving it afterwards.
Sure.
We want to make it like a carry in, carry out. Nobody's going to find junk around.
I'm sensitive to the fact that after I got an email with a picture of the garbage can on Main Street after the circus it was overflowing. That was after the circus was there. And it's not necessarily anything but when you congregate people,
Sure.
they throw garbage away, and it's not during the work hours of the Village of Fairport. So
Right.
whether that's also checking, if we need to have some garbage receptacles supplied, and we take out our garbage cans that are on Liftbridge Lane so that we don't have the added issue of garbage overflowing those garbage cans from people who are coming out or hanging around.
Yeah.
Nancy, are the team of volunteers that collect the cans, aren't they college kids and it's raising money for
One year we had that, absolutely.
for
Each-
college tuition, correct?
Yep, and
Okay.
each year it changes who the volunteers
volunteers
are.
are, okay.
But ultimately, we as the organizers will walk around and we're looking for that. If there's other events that we're participating in, I'm sure Brian and I can figure out just what it would take to make sure we're covering those bases. Happy to do it, because honestly, having overflowing garbage is bad, but it's also good because it means we got a lot of people coming into Fairport and enjoying everything that you're producing to make it such a great place to be. So we'll figure out the best way.
And that's
so
why
that-
I'm bringing it up, because
I appreciate
as the
it.
recipient of these pictures, or phone
Sure.
calls, or whatever it is, usually after an event, I'm the
Sure.
one who gets this happened, this happened, this happened. And
Yeah.
the garbage I witnessed myself, but I get the emails after an event. And so it's trying to do the due diligence with the event organizers to make sure that while our team works really hard to get everything prepared, they can't be out there off hours all the time to clean up afterwards. And I appreciate the fact that you have consideration in this. There's nothing on the form, so it just says clean up. So I'll let you discuss that with Brian.
Okay.
Can I piggyback on that?
Sure.
I brought that up, I think, to Brian when we were talking about the event form in itself as we work through the event form. Because when there's events like Pulse Pub Crawl that came to the village, they wouldn't have to fill out an event form. But I had the same concern was, shouldn't we notify the police? Who's going to take care of the cleanup? Because again, now you have a private person coming in and you've exactly the same concern. And then like during Steel Rail, well, that's private. They didn't even have to fill out an application. But again, you're going to have people walking all over the village. So I think that's something that I've thought of that needs to be considered in the form somewhere else too. Not just the parking lot you rent, but definitely clean up after these events in some way. Because it shouldn't fall on our DPW when you're having a private event like that.
Private events on private property, we can't control. So thank you for the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Spill over, literally.
Thank you, Nancy. Anything else? Anything else at this end?
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wunderbar.
Anyone? I'm sorry?
Wunderbar.
What?
Wunderbar.
You gotta let us vote first
before you
can say wunderbar.
Got
Aye.
his
Aye.
Lederhosens.
Okay, I think that was everybody. Everybody replied in the positive. Sorry, Xander, I forgot to ask if you had any questions.
I got no questions.
Okay. Now you can make your comment. I know your vote was positive. All right. Okay. Item number 5. So I believe that you just got approval, Nancy, and please meet with the village manager, White, and go through all the details. And we'll be looking forward to the Oktoberfest and the plein air and the Scarecrow Fest. All those things. Okay. Item number 5 is a motion by the village board to set the public hearing for the zoning code update on September 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Village Hall boardroom.
So moved.
By trustee Wojka,
Second?
by trustee Benoski. I'm just writing slow. My mind and my hand are not moving at the same speed. Questions or comments? I think we already set this once already at one of our other meetings.
Just a comment that I'll be out of the country, so I won't be at that meeting.
Okay.
For the public to know, I mean, I absolutely would be, but travel plans were made long before the zoning draft schedule was set.
Okay.
There's just, questions and comments from the community around the public hearing. Not everyone is outgoing and brave enough to show up at a public hearing and voice concerns or in favor or, concerns against. So all members of the board are available by email or.
Actually, what we've done in the past is suggest that they send comments to Megan.
Or
our
Megan.
clerk treasurer, Megan Coop. All right.
Just want to encourage all ways of communication. We are available and listening. I've had a few coffees just, in addition to
Sure.
the meetings that are being held. So, which have been great by Jill. We've had some community groups holding meetings to help offer further information. Color Fairport Green held something on the 11th. And these are all multimodal ways of getting the information out there, which I think has been really helpful. We have such an engaged community. So I think it's fantastic, but, don't be shy. And if you're not comfortable speaking at the public hearing, it's okay. We get it.
You can
No,
send,
and I would say,
as we've done in the past, you can send your comments to Megan. She will make sure that they are circulated amongst the board. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, or especially as we're all hearing some stuff too, let's make sure we keep everybody in the loop so we can, make sure we're all hearing what everybody is saying.
Yeah. Just a question about process or a question about, is it the desire of the board, and maybe we don't know the answer to this, to let the comments come in on the 8th, let that settle, let us have time to process as a board, to think about those things, and then have the vote on this huge document at a later
It's
date?
at a later date. I sent that out this afternoon.
Oh, I missed that. That went out today?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh. Okay. When did that come out?
Probably what time? Probably
I
around
can't keep up.
1 or
Sorry.
2 o'clock. It was in response to another email.
Oh, well, thank
If
you.
you scroll down, it
Okay.
states that the process that will follow will be the public hearing, and that we'll choose to wait
Fantastic.
for everybody to be
Fine.
present.
Great.
And we'll pick a date probably in one of the next 2 meetings right after
Love
that.
that. I
And
think
it'll
it'll
get
give us the
placed on
time to
agenda.
process if there's a lot
Absolutely.
of public comment at that hearing. We've worked so hard and so long on this, and we just want to be sure we have time to revise and edit if need be. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Then the public hearing date is set for September 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the Village Hall boardroom. And again, if you are not able to be present that evening, or if you would prefer not to come in and speak at the microphone, please send your comments to, is she what's Megan's email address? mac@fairportny.com. You can send them to Clerk Treasurer Megan. I'm like gonna mess up her last name now because I've got everything in my mind. M-A-C, Megan Cook. Yeah, it's Megan Cook.
I think there's a link, just see your picture, hit the
Yep,
link.
you can hit the
It's
link
easy.
on the website, fairportny.com.
Just find Megan,
And
hit the link.
she will make sure they're shared with the board. If you have any additional comments, please feel free to email Jill Weidrich, and Jill's email is on the village website, fairportny.com. And we'll see you on September 8th for the public hearing. All right, item number 6, a motion, I did take the vote, yeah. A motion by the village board to appoint Kimberly K. Fromm to the position of deputy village clerk for the term ending December 31st, 2025.
Did you take a vote on the zoning?
I did.
Yes, you voted yes.
You voted yes.
I'm losing my mind, I'm sorry.
And then you said communication, everybody reach out to us.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought that was the discussion before the vote.
Nope.
Nope, we did in reverse.
Sorry.
Okay, so can I have a motion by the village board to appoint Kimberly K. Fromm to the position of deputy village clerk for the term ending December 31st, 2025?
So moved.
By trustee Mishler,
Second.
by trustee Benoski. Any questions, comments?
Brian, would you just explain that,
Sure.
the time frame and where this deputy
Sure.
clerk is going to be?
So deputy village clerk is just one of those kind of catch-all positions that we have the purview in the village to appoint people to them versus a civil service list and those types of things. So we always have, we have positions open like that, and we're recruiting for another position. If we can hire them under those things, we do. This specific position's been in the FMC billing office for a very, very long time. The person that initially held that no longer works here. So we had a part-time employee that we made full-time. So because this is an annual appointment, it happens every year no matter what anyway. But so we went ahead and just filled that with the part-timer that we made now full-time. Kim's great. She also does dispatch with FMC as well. She does a lot of things for us. And then so we just need to solidify it with the motion tonight.
So this is FMC,
Correct.
and this is the end of the term. Perfect.
Correct. That's correct.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That will pass. Item number 7 is a motion by the village board to approve the June 2025 financial statements for the village of Fairport. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
I'm sorry.
So moved.
Was that okay, Mishler,
Second.
Waika. Okay, Megan's not here. Brian, you going to read us the financial statements? Is there anything of note that we need to discuss this evening?
There is not. Megan's not here tonight, but everything is just a typical monthly financials. Nothing new. Nothing happening in that.
It's the
report.
first month, right, in the
Yeah,
new
it is.
fiscal year?
Yeah. So everything's on track.
Yeah.
There's no issues. There isn't.
First
Hope not.
month,
It's
we're
the first
good.
month, we're good.
It's
And Megan did highlight big things.
she did, and it's just
for
your
us, our
typical
eyes.
invoices and accounts receivables coming in for a given month. Right.
Any questions from anybody here?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That will be unanimous. Approval of vouchers. Okay, so we did this once already, but do we need a motion again?
I'm sorry. Say it.
All right, for the approval of vouchers, we
Mm-hmm.
did that at the last meeting.
Okay, if you don't have any vouchers, then you don't need to. Was there one on there for the pay app number 4? 1 second.
Is that the,
It was the
is
street.
that what we're
the
seeing here?
street
for
Yeah,
the
so
CPO?
you have
CPO?
one voucher on there, which is the Streetscape pay app number 4.
Okay, so
And the reason it's there is because of the timing of these bills. We need to get approved now so we can get that purchased and paid, because we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that they need cash flow to keep the Streetscape project. That's why that's on
And
there.
it's the
Okay,
highlighted items.
so I'm gonna make the motion, I'll make the
For approval of the
statement.
voucher.
Can I have a motion for the approval of the vouchers for streetscape payment number 4? Are there more than that?
Just one.
Okay, so streetscape payment number 4. Can I have a motion and a second for that?
So moved.
By trustee Benesky,
Second.
by trustee Wojka. So this is a voucher that came in, I'm just getting clarification to make sure everybody's on the same page. This is a voucher that came in later than our last meeting, but needs to be paid so that we can make the payment for streetscape number 4.
That's correct.
Any questions from the rest of the board?
No, we gotta make sure we get
That
it.
was what was in the notes, right? That like multi-page?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That'll be unanimous. Upcoming village board meetings. Our next village board meeting will be Monday, September 8th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the boardroom, as well as it will also be the public hearing for the zoning code update at 6 p.m. here in the Village Hall boardroom. Our next village board work session will be Monday, September 22nd, 2025, at 6 p.m. here in the Village Hall boardroom. And I just want to I'll just go without the sheet of paper. The next DRI meeting will be Wednesday, September 27th at 4 p.m. in the Village boardroom. That will be geared towards businesses, commercial businesses, merchants.
You mean August 27th, right?
No?
What did I say?
September 27th, Wednesday,
No,
September 27th?
sorry, it's August 27th.
Okay.
Thank you. It's 2 days from now, that Wednesday, August 27th. It'll be here in the boardroom, and if you want any further information on these meetings, the schedule, there'll be some more pop-ups. Please go to the DRI website, which is Fairport, like you spell the name of the village, capital D, DRNI.com. There's also a link to it on the homepage of our website, fairportny.com. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of that page, there's a news article there, and you can find the link to get to the fairportdri.com page as well, and it has a listing of all the events, time schedules, the next events that are coming after this one. I was just going to add that, and I was going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By trustee Briggs,
Second?
by trustee Benosky. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Then we are adjourned.